Bull or bear? Spinning my 1799 8 reale silver coin, and it comes up a bull. Appropriate for today, it looks like. Good morning. Hey, what's up, folks? This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. Got the live underwater cam up in Deerfield Beach, and some look downs there. Kind of hard to tell who is your friend and who wants to eat you in this kind of water. As you can see, they're kind of spread out watching for each other. Lots of bait out there as well, and very murky, kind of not unlike living today. You know, who's your friend and who wants to eat you? All right, the quote for the day, which is, if a broken system is allowed to fail, it actually strengthens it against the catastrophe of future black swan events. Nassim Nicholas Taleb, I think, is the correct pronunciation for this gentleman. And you know, folks, it's something we've talked about on our videos over and over and over, is that they never fix the system. They never let the system actually break to rebuild it, or to let the patient die to revive it from the ashes. You know, in 2008, all they did was just band-aid up the patient that was hemorrhaging, throw a bunch of plasma money into it, and you know, that's kind of an analogy or a way that I look at it. And they never really fixed the problem, and here we are today. I mean, we're not unlike the issues we had back then, except times 10, times 100. I'm not sure what figure to use. But the truth of the matter is, they should have. There's no institution too big to fail in a capitalist system. None, none whatsoever. Even the system itself, which a lot of people admit should fail. And for capitalism shouldn't fail, but the crony capitalism, which we see today, should fail. But this is what we're seeing today with the banks. What was it? The second largest bank in history, just kind of again after what happened a month ago or so. They fixed nothing, folks. All they did was again just pump more plasma, more money into the dying patient, which is our economy, unfortunately. And what does this have to do with the price of gold, silver, and platinum? It has a lot to do with it, and we're going to get into that in a moment as well. Look at prices. I was really surprised what we're seeing here, which is 2005. What was the high here? 2005 and 68. I mean, not so much at gold. Gold's been hovering in this $2,000 range, give or take a little bit. But there seems to be a concentrated effort out there by the big commercial shorts to knock the price of gold down, and maybe even governments when it comes to gold. Remember, central banks, and reserve systems and the elite own gold. Okay, silver's a whole different market. Silver's a small little market, not owned by the elite and not owned by central bankers. Gold's kind of been knocked down a little bit, but it's, again, holding its own at this 2,000 level. Will it continue to hold its own through the month of May? I'm not quite sure. Typically it does get hammered in May, or it's going to do just the opposite. I don't know. If any of us knew what exactly the price of gold and silver was going to be tomorrow or next month, I think we could make a highly leveraged bet and get extremely rich real quickly. So if you got a crystal ball, let me know. But what we do know is these markets are highly manipulated. We just don't know what the manipulators are going to do or not going to do. We can take, educated guesses, and I think if you're going to take an educated guess in the silver market, Ted Butler is the best person to listen to. And I'm going to talk about Ted here in a little bit as well. Silver just like blasting off. It almost hit that $26 mark. I was really surprised. A high of $25.93. We were nearing that 26 mark, and the NYMEX market opened up, and here we are, gets knocked down a little bit, but still up overall from the close on Friday. New York's close, up 35 cents. Take a look at, the world spot price, 35 cents at 25.42. Platinum kind of hanging on to that higher $1,000 level, 1076. Toying with $1,100 again. And folks, remember, these markets are not organic. It's not like we're trying to guess, when they are organic and they're not. And that's probably, I know that's the opposite. It doesn't make much sense, but they're organic in the means that at some point, and Ted talks about this especially with silver, at some point physical inventories, physical silver has to come into play, and this is what we've been seeing. This is why probably silver is held so strong at this $25 mark when it's been knocked down several times since 2000 from this exact area. And silver holding on to its gains better than gold. Gold was flying high there for a little bit, and looks like it was going to break its all-time high at what, a month? The beginning of March or something like that, and then gets knocked down to what, the high 1970s or 1960s or something like that, only to kind of be buffed back up to that $2,000 mark. Remember, gold is controlled also in the Crimex markets by big commercial banks, but most of all, central banks and governments have a lot of control over the price of gold. So there's not as much, I think, monkey hammering and manipulation to some degree, because you've got different interests out there. You've got the BRICS nations buying gold. You've probably got Western nations selling gold or trying to sell gold or whatever is happening out there. Again, where silver is a extremely small marketplace. And I keep saying small marketplace because, again, we're going to talk about why silver could explode to the upside on some big, huge level. Exactly the same reason why they've been able to keep it down for so long, the big commercials, collusive commercials, banks out there. And platinum, again, I just think unloved metal, seeing a little more love than it was when it was in that 850, high sevens, 850, 900 range for a long time, popping 1,000, getting popped back down again. So I think platinum is getting ready to make its run up, and palladium, who cares? Because no one asked me about it, and I don't really care too much about palladium. I mean, it's a rare metal, but not a lot of investors in it. It's probably mostly industrial, I would presume. And okay, what's going on out there? I mean, what's causing these markets to kind of go crazy in gold, silver, and platinum? No, I think now, remember that J.P. Morgan plays a huge role in the price of gold, silver, and platinum. And a lot of people believe, including GATA.org, that J.P. Morgan is a arm for the U.S. government that works with the Treasury, and their plunge protection team in the back end. They have a special relation. Remember I said crony capitalism earlier? Well, there you go. Perfect use of the word crony capitalism. JPM has the in with the U.S. government. And after this deal that just went through with them getting all the best parts of this Republic bankruptcy here, and that's exactly what happened. JPM got all the profit and none of the risk involved. The risk was stripped away, and the assets given to JP. Why is that? I mean, come on, folks. We all know it. They're in bed with the government. They really are. Too big to fail, too big to jail, and they're basically like big moneyed criminal enterprises to some degree that operate in the well, anyways. We'll get into that. We know exactly what role they have to play. And here, let's take a look here. All you got to do is type in J.P. Morgan convicted of fraud, convicted of spoofing, racketeering, cleared of racketeering, because that would have been a serious charge in precious metals if they had hit with racketeering, but spoofing, a lesser charge overall. Remember, they threw the traders under the bus for this. $60 million, $920 million. This is the exact same people that the U.S. government just gave a bank to, or just gave another large bank's assets to. Okay, again, without any of the toxic assets. The toxic assets are probably going to be left up to some investors that were invested with that bank, or probably taxpayers or something. What else do we got going on out there that bodes well for precious metals? We've got U.S. recession probability reaches 67%. And again, folks, don't be lured into the fact that we can't have the spot prices knocked down. Let's do a quick refresh here and see what we got going on there. Yeah, there we go. Hammered down a little bit here from where we left off this morning, but don't feel like these prices can't get monkey hammered lower, and we couldn't see a flush out of the price of silver. Remember, silver is such a small manipulated market. Gold, I think we're not going to see. I think we've seen really the lows that we're going to see in gold. That's just my opinion. I think that that 970, maybe even 960 1950, I think, is the low that we've seen set in. I don't think we're going to see it lower than that, but again, if I knew this for sure, of course, we would all make a big bet on that, and we'd all be super rich. So that's just speculative on my part, but just my gut feeling tells me we've seen the lows in gold already. Silver, again, being such a small marketplace, easy to manipulate by banks that have too much money and then are too big to fail and too big to jail, manipulate that market highly. But the physical is starting, the physical is the dog, the tail is the derivatives market, the paper markets, the COMEX markets, the ETF markets. Well, not so much ETF market. SLV has to own silver. Remember that. A lot of people don't believe they're a large player in silver, but SLV, and Ted Butler explains that well, is a huge player, and a lot of these other ETFs, and they do have the silver to back it up. Now, sometimes there's shenanigans played with short positions, as happened recently, but no less, SLV does have the silver to back up their claims, and they do take a large part of the physical silver in the market out there. All these prices, there's a lot to gain out there. There's a lot of silver being held out there in private investors' hands. And again, I believe that we're looking at a true silver shortage coming up here. So this is why we're seeing strength in the price of silver. I probably digressed there a little bit from what I was talking about. And let me move back to, giving the system, giving the banks assets. Hang on, let me see if there's an updated headline there. Of course. Let me refresh that real quick. And there we go. Jamie Dimon. Boy, the evil empire. They talk about the evil empire in the Star Wars. J.P. Morgan, in my opinion, is the evil empire of the economic system out there, the fair economic system. I believe they're in bed with the government. I believe that there's a lot of crony corporatism going on with JPM. Too big to jail, too big to fail. This guy's probably more powerful than the president is. He's certainly smarter, that's for sure. JPM CEO says system is very up to the second largest U.S. bank failure in history. Oh, wow. We need successful banks in the largest economy, Dimon says. And basically what he did, he got all the best assets from that bank. Bad shit, man, bad shit. And our government, our regulators, just, again, handed over to an institution that is just absolutely bigger than it should be, and for a lot of the wrong reasons, as you can tell here, our government just handed over all the best assets of a bank that just went down. And again, probably going to lead to the sour assets with the taxpayer or maybe investors and bonds or something like that, whatever. But think about it. Think about how much in bed our government is with these bastards. These, right here. It's just sad. And where am I going to go with that? I think there's something here to talk about. A good article here by, let me give some cred here, Mohammed E. El-Arian, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Bloomberg, opened via Bloomberg, that talks about what actually happened here with this bank being, First Republic Bank, basically being seized by the FDIC and given to their friends, Jamie Dimon and his henchmen at J.P. Morgan. Good article here. Again, I want to point this out. You can read it for free on Zero Hedge. El-Arian worries. You can copy that link and just paste it in. You'll find it on there. But some key points here that I want to point out, and I'm not giving away anything here. I'm not giving away the plot here, but well, maybe I am. But for those that can't read it, very good article, worthwhile reading. And he talks yet the potential collateral damage and the unintended consequences are far from immaterial. Unintended consequences. This is called blowback. The CIA used to call it blowback. When the CIA would run these operations and something unintentional would be a result of what they didn't think through, they call that blowback. In the military world, in the CIA world, in our world, in the world of economic idiocy, they call it collateral damage and unintended consequences. Four stand out in particular. First, the U.S. now has a more concentrated banking system with what once was viewed not so long ago as too big to fail, too big to manage, banks becoming larger. Second, there's even, again, too big to fail, I also like to say too big to jail, and too big to manage. And it doesn't hurt when you're in bed and you're probably involved with the plunge protection team and the Treasury Department. You got your own employees that used to work with you or are going to work for you someday in the Treasury Department as well. Second, there is even a greater doubt about the nature of the de facto deposit insurance play. Of course. Third, the compositional risk within the banking system of less credit extending into the economy will continue, potentially aggravating the headwinds to high and inclusive growth. And finally, the total cost of First Republic's resolution remains to be assessed. However, how the burden be shared among the public and private sector, and with the extent of the bailout for the 11 banks that had large deposits with First Republic. And as I said, what has the government done? What has the regulators done in our brilliant government? They handed it to the crooks at J.P. Morgan. Again, that's just my opinion. The very same people that if you type in J.P. Morgan convicted, you can get pages and pages of stuff here. Too big to fail, too big to, you said it. All right, what else are we going to look at? And what does this have to do with the price of gold and silver? Silver is such a small market, folks. Ted Butler is going to talk about this, and it ties into what we're talking about here as well. GATA.org. Here's another thing that's going to help with the price of silver is Mexico does produce, my understanding, large amounts of silver. And what did Mexico just do? Now, I'm not saying it wasn't necessary. Maybe Mexican mining, it was very irresponsible, damaging to the environment. I am all for environmentally safe mining. I believe it can be done, should be done, but maybe they weren't doing it right down there. But Mexican Senate hastily approves new mining rules. The Mexican Senate today approved an express session of package including constitutional reforms and a mining law. Basically, here, let's see if we can click into that and see what the mining law shortens concessions in the mining sector to 30 to 50 years, which probably, again, might have been a good thing. Maybe these concessions have a lot to do, and I'm sure they do, especially down in Mexico. I should say here as well, it would happen, but maybe there's a lot of cronyism going on with who gets those concessions down there. And giving back some of the mining profits to be returned to local communities. Someone will say that's kind of socialism, and perhaps it is. I think giving back to the local communities would be hiring of the local communities, and companies that bring money into local communities would be a better way. And I'm not seeing why that's not happening. Are they hiring outside? Perhaps. Maybe they could have wrote that a little bit better. But if this, this indeed does stifle mining and silver a little bit in Mexico, and anything that stifles the production of putting more silver in the marketplace is not good for the silver short positions, not good for the collusive commercial banks. Short, again, lack of material. They can sell their paper all they want, but when manufacturers start coming in and asking for silver because they need it for manufacturing reasons, for computers, whatever it may be, and it's not there, well, there we go. There's when our real shortage and our real panic starts to happen. And when does that happen? Great article here. Again, this all ties in with it. Everything all ties in together. Of course it does. But Ted Butler had a really good article I just read here. It was, I believe it was Sunday or Saturday when he wrote it. And I'd like to take a little piece out of this. I'm not reading you the whole thing. I believe Ted's talked about this many times, and we've talked about this many times, about how small the silver market is and how huge the equities in the other markets are. I mean, silver is like, even SLV for BlackRock, okay? Imagine this, BlackRock's SLV, which holds like 70%, or, ETFs hold around 70% of the entire silver above ground holdings out there in the investment world. They have most of it besides, and comics probably, but yeah, SLV holds a large amount of silver out there. And for BlackRock, say BlackRock was worth $1 million. The SLV market, in comparison to $1 million, and it's just we're pretending BlackRock's worth $1 million. SLV represents maybe $1 of that million. All right, no, $1,000. I'm sorry, about 1,000. That was the comparison I heard. Around $1,000 compared to that million. So it tells you how much huger all markets are besides silver. And Ted points out something here. If you haven't read ahead of me here, real quick. Just like all the necessary ingredients were fully in place long before the bank runs we witnessed recently, they were just overlooked. The same required preconditions exist for a flight of money into gold and silver. The case is particularly noteworthy for silver. What requires preconditions? That's simple. the ocean of money sloshing around and the existing mechanism that could funnel a very small portion of that ocean of money into physical silver with ease of a single phone call or a click of a computer mouse. And again, Ted points out something real important here, that the markets have changed dramatically, even from 2011. Bank runs are now, instead of bank runs taking like a week or a couple days to take place, because people are lining up at the bank to get their money, it's instantaneous now. It's a push of a button. These large volumes of money moving around, great assessment by Ted here as well. These large volumes of moving around can be done so quickly. I haven't thought of that, something I haven't thought about until he brought that up. What I have known is how much money is out there in the investment world compared to silver, and how just a small fraction of that huge amount of money out there going into gold and silver markets could make gold and silver markets double, triple, quadruple, way more than that. Doesn't take much, trust me, especially in silver. And Ted says that here, that's simple. The ocean of money sloshing around in the existing mechanisms that could funnel a very small portion of that money into physical silver with the ease of a single phone call. And for silver, the amount of money required to jolt prices is nowhere near the hundreds of billions of dollars of sloshing around in the equities markets. At current prices, just $1 billion is 40 million ounces of silver, folks. And a lot of you say that's wow, that's 40 million ounces. Billion's a lot of money, of course it is, but billion is really not a lot of money, folks. When you consider it's hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars in the equity system that's out there, the paper equity system, the paper markets at COMEX, the derivative markets. I mean, it's just in the trillions. Even a small fraction of that money moving to silver could cause silver just to go effing crazy, okay? I almost said it. And at current, again, $40 million is a billion. $2 billion amounts to 80 million ounces. And Ted says, and according to his opinion, I trust it, the sudden purchase of even a measly, and I know again, $2 billion's a lot to us, $2 billion's a lot to us, but now today's economic world, it's nothing. Just a billion or $2 billion of any kind of investment money, even from one person moving into silver, would send the prices spiraling higher, given the documented physical tightness that we're having right now and other things. So folks, it don't take much. You get you get an Elon Musk out there that thinks he needs to own a lot of silver and wants to double down on that bet, could cause silver prices just to go astronomical. Again, because of the size of its market. I've been saying for quite some time, the reason I like silver because I think it's much easier for silver to double and triple in price than it is for gold. I think silver's way behind the curve. Gold has already seen its all-time high 3, 4 times, or it's going to see it the 4th time, I forget. Silver, twice only. So I think silver is way undervalued, especially when you look at the gold to silver ratios. All right, well, that's pretty much my story, folks. I'm sticking with it. Good stuff to read out there. I'd like to thank everybody for watching my video, Silver Sound, Gold Rebounds. I want to point out something funny as hell to me. I don't know. Look at the views on that, 1.3 views. I want to show you what craziness this channel is right here, all right? How you can go from like one extreme to another, and I'm not too worried about it. It's much easier for me to answer in the comment section this way, but look at this. 20,000 views, 37,000 views last week, and here, let's look at a couple more of them. I had 58,000 views, right? What happened?
You can now speak any language.
Oh, sorry about that. What happened here? 1.3. It kind of just went downhill real quick there. Boom, boom, boom. The algos at this particular channel never cease to amaze me, but I'd like to thank everyone for watching all these videos, no matter how many viewers watch them. And then, quite frankly, it's much easier to answer comments on the smaller views. And I'm not in this for, definitely not in this to make money. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm not going to make money in YouTube. I enjoy reading the comments. I enjoy answering things. And like I said, it's easier when it's smaller, isn't it? Let me answer some comments today because there's only 24. From 50,000 down to 1,000. That's kind of like, interesting. Hey, Show Pro, what's up? Rick David Doggenbaugh, how you doing? Great, thank you. Hello to Boca Raton. I grew up in that area. Went to Boca Raton High School, actually. Back when it, actually, back a long time ago. Michael Matthews, good morning, sir. Cup of coffee. Here, give me 1 second. Brian, how about the real people trade silver instead of paper? Of course, we have real people decided the price. You know, I think that's about to happen again. I think that the dog being physical silver and the tail being the derivatives, the dog is going to start wagging the tail here pretty soon if it isn't already. You know, and maybe another reason silver prices are moving up to the $30 level. I think we're going to see $30 level possibly here if they don't knock it down here soon. I think we're up to $30 here, and then after 30, who knows what happens. But again, Ted points out there are some big short positions flying in there, so you know, be prepared for a potential smackdown as well. Darren, hello, my friend, San Antonio. Oh, you know, Texas is a beautiful state. Thanks for your comment there. Appreciate you watching. Orc Imig, I think I said that right. I'm selling 500 at 31 pounds, all or nothing. Good for you, man. But I think it's going to go past that, dude. I just think, you know, unless you're kind of a short-term trader and you got to be out of it, or you're like, you know, 90 or something like that, and you figure you got a year left, or 100 and you got a year left, I'd be in it for a little bit longer. But again, what do I know? Daniel Castrop says, isn't Eastern time and weather nice? It is. Current silver to gold and earth is 8-1, answering my question from last week and what we talked about today. The reason I think that silver should be way above 30 bucks, and why we're probably going to see at some point the numbers, the real numbers, the you know, again, science, 8-1 has got to come into play at some point, especially with the use of silver we had all these years and how much sits in landfill, blah, blah, blah. There's probably more gold above ground than there is silver, in my opinion. And in the opinion of people who are smarter than me. And you got to think of that in relative terms when I say that. When I say above ground, I don't mean in landfills. Silverliner says, my favorite place to get Brian is the streams of college. Yeah, man. I'm actually, folks, I'm going to be on vacation. I'm going to be right on a stream, too, believe it or not. Funny you said that. After next Friday, I'll be on vacation for 2 weeks. You know, I don't know how many, I'll be up in a place that doesn't have good cell connection and maybe has terrible internet. I don't know how many videos I'll get done, but I'll do my best. Which reminds me, thanks, Silverliner. Strongman says they keep on monkeying on price of silver and gold as you, but physical metals, I agree, keep buying. Tim, coin shops are cranking up the premiums. I stopped buying silver and just stick to gold for now. I'm not quite sure. We're not cranking up the premiums personally. I don't have the power to determine what premiums are going to be. I just follow markets. And even the guys that I'm buying from are following markets, and the limited quantities of silver that are available to them are causing them to have to pay more on the premium side if they want it now. If you don't mind waiting months out, you can buy, you know, I can sell you silver rounds right now for way cheaper than I can sell you for immediate delivery. If you don't mind waiting 6 weeks or a month, I can save you a buck or two per ounce. But anybody that wants silver right now in certain types of products, they're going to pay a high premium. So are the dealers. It's, again, that's real supply and demand. That's not crony capitalism. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate you coming. Nate W. says, I want the crooks to continue so I can keep stacking. You know what? But it just delay. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. At some point, I believe now, soon, it's going to catch up to them, and I believe it has. I can't blame you there. 15-20% premiums, I have to agree, are pretty crazy. But the price of silver is so abnormally cheap and low that I can overlook those premiums somewhat, because, you know, if you're buying at so, you know, if silver is 23 as it was to 25 and you're paying a 15-20% premium on that, I still think below, and that comes into below $30. I still think it's cheap if you're thinking medium long term, and again, you want the silver now and you're not willing to wait 6 months for it or 6 weeks for it. I'm sorry. Cheers, Christopher. Johnny Boy Silver says, Oregon. I always wanted to go to Oregon. I will. It's on my bucket list for sure. Beautiful state. Thanks, Johnny Boy. Steven says, I'm surprised to hear you say the mint is not meaning to minimize the shortage of silver. What about other mints? Well, I believe that I did say that. Oh, okay, you're right. What are they doing? I don't know the numbers, but it seems to be higher availability. Is the stretch there stockpiling silver on the off chance the futures run on silver? I don't think so. I just don't think they're producing it because they were asked to reduce production because, and again, this all comes into, think about this. JP Morgan is, I believe, directly involved with or has direct information from the plunge protection team, which is a group that can meet in secret and talk about how they're going to run this country financially. And JP Morgan is probably in the, I believe, the Treasury or the plunge protection team. You know, in my opinion, it's very possible that they've gone to the mint and they said, listen, you got to stop producing that many silver eagles because we have a problem. You're going to bankrupt Crimex, the CME Group's silver market. You're going to bankrupt some big commercial banks that have these large short positions if you don't. And guess what? The U.S. Mint did it. Why? Crony capitalism. That is not real capitalism. James Nelson says, thanks for putting another video. And you know what I always do? Because I'm always worried that I forgot to hit the record button. It would have been a shame if I did this one. Thanks for putting up another video. As long as the crooked bankers keep the prices low, I'll keep adding my personal bank account. A little bit of silver each month, no matter how low or high, I'll hold for the long run. There you go. I am a long runner too, my friend. Would you consider letting us know what your buyback price is on a few items every once in a while, just so we know what a reputable local dealer is offering? Okay, hang on. Hang on one second. Let me see. Oh, man. I don't have my sheet right here. I left it downstairs. All right, try to do that tomorrow, Charles. Thanks. Appreciate you commenting there. Anyways, didn't bring my sheet. Hey, folks, really appreciate you watching, all 1,300 of you. And even the 58,000 that watched in last week's video that got some high view counts. So all of you, appreciate you watching. Appreciate all the comments out there. A little easier to answer them on these low view counts right here. And by the way, this video was no different or better or worse than the one I got 50,000, 8,000 views on last week. So I'm completely miffed. I think it's all got to do with titles, and they encourage clickbaiting out there. All right, well, anyways, semi-clickbait, but not really. I think silver is going to go above $30 this time. I'm not sure. Just something strange going on above that $25 mark. JP Morgan's got too many big fish to fry right now to get caught up in a small silver market scam or have some kind of issues with that. Maybe the regulators have let them know that as well. Maybe that's why BlackRock reduced their position or that short position that they had that was really just accounting for lack of silver to put in the market. So many things, so many crazy stuff going on. And before we leave here, let's do a quick refresh and see where we are in the criminal Primex markets. Wouldn't you go figure? A little bit lower. So great opportunity to buy, folks. Good deals out there. By the way, if you're looking to buy gold, silver, and platinum, come see us at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. If you live in South Florida, again, you can visit us. We're open 10 to 4, Mondays through Fridays, same location since 1995. I've been doing this since 77 when I started working for my father, buying, selling gold, silver, and precious metals. It ain't rocket science, folks, but I am good at it. And we advertise to beat the locals here in South Florida. We also advertise to beat the online guys. So if you live near me, you don't need to go online. You can, but I'll beat APMEX, SD, and JM prices on gold, silver, and platinum products. And not only will I beat them, you'll get a friendly, smiling face here and get good advice, and we'll tell you what good products to buy. And you'll develop a good relationship with us in the future in the event that you want to sell this stuff too, because when you want to sell, what are you going to do? Drop it in your mailbox for SDJM and hope it gets there? I shouldn't say that. It'll probably get there. But no less, develop a good relationship. If you can't do business with us here in South Florida because you don't live in South Florida, but you're buying more than 1,500 ounces of silver and more than 50 ounces of gold, give us a call at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. We don't have an online store, but we can deal old traditional forms of emails, phone calls, and secure forms of shipping that we can get out to you, insured shipping. So again, if you don't live in South Florida, you can't come visit us at our brick and mortar. We do ship, we do business out of state, but again, we have limits, 50 ounces of gold, 1,500 ounces of silver before we can ship. And if you can't meet those minimum requirements for us on shipping, please, if you don't live near us, please, 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 before you go to APMEX, SD, and J and Bullion, and they're great companies, don't get me wrong. That's why I advertise to beat them, because you want to beat the best out there. Try to find yourself a good local dealer that can. Always keep your money local if possible, because remember, even my local peeps, when they spend money with me, I spend it back in the community with them as well. So do my employees. Well, that's it, folks. Thanks. Have yourself a wonderful day, and don't forget, Collectorama's coming up June 22nd, 24th. Great show in Lakeland, Florida. About an hour from Orlando, an hour from Tampa, about 3 hours from Jacksonville, 3.5, 4 hours from South Florida. Not a bad drive there. Beautiful little town. You can buy coins, jewelry, artwork, precious metals, gold, silver, and platinum products, all kinds of cool. And there it is right there. Look. Lakeland, a beautiful place, nice, safe, good place to bring the family too. So catch us there. Get your free tickets here if you want to bring your family. Otherwise, they do charge at the door. And if you're a dealer looking to get a space for your collectibles or your coins or whatever you want to do, hit that dealer page as well. All right, I can call it quits. Hey, want to give a shout out to all the folks out there at Wall Street Silver, at Reddit, great forum out there. Also LinkedIn. Yes, I am a Second Amendment advocate, and so is she apparently on LinkedIn. And you can catch me on Twitter, except they kicked me off, man, for a couple days. And I'm telling you, I don't know what I said. It was kind of weird. I said something scientifically true and factual and wasn't insulting or hateful. And I got some weird response. But, you know, again, we're dealing with weird people out there. So I am still on Twitter, but I can't see it. Maybe you can. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Have yourself a wonderful day. And will we see $30 silver coming up here based on what we're seeing? Will $30 silver be in May? I don't know. Are they going to monkey hammer it? Again, likely they'll try because there's no consequences. Again, they're too big to jail, and there are no regulatory agencies that'll stop them, potentially. But something weird is going on, folks. I'm telling you, I can feel it. There's just some strange stuff going on. I think we might see 30. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for having a good, thanks for watching, and have yourself a great day. Bye now.